Conditions today are not what I would call ideal for photography down by the coast. We've got pretty much completely clear blue skies and the sea is pretty flat. But I'm a big believer that there's always something you can do, and I'm thinking this is an opportunity to put that to the test. Now, what I'm actually thinking of doing is doing some telephoto long exposure images, getting in and looking at some detail with the telephoto lens and then making that look a bit different with a long exposure. And as luck would have it, I have a brand new 10-stop ND filter to review. It's the Nano X Pro series ND1000 from K&F Concept, and they've sent it through to me to do a bit of a test on and to share my thoughts on. So I'm going to do that as part of this video. So this will be partly me doing some long exposure photography and partly me talking about the filter. And there's a helicopter flying over, which I hope hasn't drowned out everything I've just said. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. So what I'm looking for is something with sort of texture, maybe some harsh edges, something that I can use as a contrast to smooth, blurry water, which I can achieve through the long exposure. Now, while I'm looking for that, let me tell you a little bit about this filter. So it's the premium range, I guess, from K&F Concept in terms of ND filters, and they do a circular polarizer, and I think they do a variable ND in this range as well. As I said, premium range, and when it comes to the packaging, it certainly looks like premium range. It's kind of what you would expect. It's very, very nicely packaged, but I don't want to talk a lot about packaging. What I will do, however, is just mention a couple of things. Now, first of all, the packaging has got two mistakes on it. The first mistake is that it says that this filter is constructed from copper, or the frame is constructed from copper, and it's not. I've clarified that it's actually constructed from brass, which is an alloy of copper, and that makes more sense to me than a copper construction. The second thing on here is it refers to a 2-year warranty, and it's not a 2-year warranty, it's a 10-year warranty. And again, I have confirmed that with K&F Concept, and it is definitely a 10-year warranty that they're offering. It is an ND1000 or 10-stop screw-in filter, so it's nothing particularly revolutionary, but I'm expecting it to be very high quality, given that it's their premium range. So as soon as we find something to shoot, we'll give it a little test. Oh, I forgot. The other thing I want to mention about the packaging is that, unlike most packaging that you kind of throw away or stick in a drawer, if you want to, this one actually converts into a little miniature picture frame, which I guess is quite a useful idea, being repurposable, if that's a word. Well, I've found a scene here to do a first shot on, just on the side of the breakwater. There's some small waves kind of lapping in against the rocks, and I'm just doing a scene with the breakwater running across the middle, sea in the foreground, sea behind it, and a bit of sky. More of a test shot than anything else. Now, when it comes to the this type of ND filter, I'm kind of looking at a few things. Because of the construction of this, they are telling me that there's very little chance of vignetting, or it's very slim. Now obviously I'm using this on a telephoto lens, so I wouldn't expect to see vignetting anyway, but I have tested it out on my 16 to 35 at 16mm, and there was no trace of vignetting at all. I've only got the one filter, so I can't test stacking them, but I would guess it would probably be reasonably okay, but it's normally a good idea to think about getting the next filter size up and then using a step-up ring. That way you reduce the risk of vignetting if you start stacking filters. The second thing that I would want to check is it actually 10 stops? And I've just checked that, and it certainly looks as if it is exactly 10 stops. I have got another filter, it's from a different brand, but a premium brand, which is supposed to be 10 stops, and it's actually about 10 and a half. The third thing I'm going to want to check, which I'll obviously have to wait till I get the image back on the computer to check, is does it affect the image quality at all? You know, does it soften the edges or cause me any other kind of problems? I'm not expecting it based on my experience with other filters from K&F Concept. I'm just keeping an eye on the waves coming up here. But nevertheless, it needs checking. I'm assuming it will be okay, but I'll let you know if there's any difference. And the final thing I want to check is for any colour cast. I'm not that bothered about colour cast because it's so easy to correct, but nevertheless it's nice if these filters don't create a colour cast. So again, I'll probably have to check that back on the computer, but I'll let you know. Playing around with a tighter shot, kind of filling the top of the frame with the rocks, and just having the water in the bottom. Now that's a much darker scene, so it's going to be a longer exposure, probably closer to 30 seconds. So as I said, the frame of this filter is brass, and K&F Concept are making quite a big thing about the quality of this. It's inspired by the construction of things like the Leica M cameras, which have got brass construction bodies. The filter itself has a 36 layer double coated, or double nano coated, very low reflectivity, so it should perform well, you know, even in harsh conditions, bright light. And we've got some pretty harsh light now, although the light's over to one side. Just wait for this 30-second exposure to finish. Just thought I'd play around with a long shot right out to the Sierra Lada and the towers of Benidorm there. Lots of sea in the foreground, lots of sky in the top. It probably needs to be cropped quite wide, you know, maybe 2:1 or something to work as an image. But it's giving me a chance to kind of do some more tests with this filter, and so far it's looking pretty good. I thought I'd come up onto the breakwater here and do some shots, or a shot looking across the scene. Right out in the distance is the distinctive double peak of Push Campana Mountain. In front of that there's kind of sort of some rolling hills. One of those hills has got the watchtower at Yoma de Reiches on there. There's some buildings in front of that, bit of sea, one of the breakwaters coming across, and a bit more sea. Now, if I shot this, kind of just with a normal exposure, the texture in the sea is going to probably not make it look very nice. But with the 10 stop on, I'm getting a 30-second exposure, and that kind of flattens the sea out and takes the distraction out. So hopefully that'll look quite nice. I decided I really should do at least one wide angle. So what I'm actually doing is a shot again off the breakwater, looking towards the buildings kind of along the seafront. The sun is just setting behind those buildings, so I'm shooting towards the sun, although the sun is blocked. So it's wide angle, 16mm. I'm probably going to have to do a second shot with a shorter exposure, because I've gone for 30 seconds at f16 with the ISO down to low 1, but it's still blowing out where the sun is, so I'm going to do a shorter exposure just to keep the detail in there. But the sea should look quite nice. Okay, so let's do a few final thoughts on this filter. I mentioned the packaging. I didn't mention the fact it comes in a nice leather case. Just find that. Which is that, and it is leather. If they'd invented smell-o-vision, I'd let you have a sniff, but it is definitely leather. And it's got a little pull tab on it, so when you drop the filter in, it pushes the tab down. You just pull it up. It means you don't have to kind of fumble around inside and risk getting your fingers all over the filter. From what I can see, and obviously to be confirmed when I get the images back on the computer, the quality looks excellent. The build quality feels really nice. As I said earlier, it's this brass construction, guaranteed for 10 years, so they must be reasonably comfortable with it. Now, I'm going to be honest. When it comes to filters, I tend to prefer either the magnetic or the square filters. Screw-in ones are a bit fiddly to use in the field, and this one is screw-in. So if you're having to do things like focus stacking between long exposures, and you've got to take that filter off to be able to refocus, that's going to be a little bit of a pain. But that's a matter of personal preference, nothing wrong with the filter itself. There's nothing particularly revolutionary about what this filter does. It's a 10-stop ND filter. If you've already got a 10-stop ND filter that you're happy with, then you're probably not going to rush out to buy this one. But if you're looking out for a nice, high-quality, screw-in ND1000 10-stop ND filter, this one is a very, very nice example. And, as I said, subject to seeing the images on the screen, I think it does an excellent job with little or no colour cast and no detrimental effect at all on the image quality. And at the moment, until the end of the year, if you use the links in the video description, you can get a 20% discount off of this filter and the other filters in this range, I believe. That's till the end of the year. Those aren't affiliate links. I don't earn anything from using those links, but you do get a 20% discount if it's something you're interested in. I think I need to pack up and head for home now. I've got things to do this evening, ready for something I've got going on tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, likes, shares and comments are all really appreciated. If you've enjoyed this video and you're new here and you want to see more of what I get up to, whether it's, you know, coastal photography in the mountains, in towns or whatever, then don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.